Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Today we got, we got OX3 security. Paul's in the house right when I go live. I haven't been gone live for like 10 seconds. It's crazy. Thanks for being here, man. How you doing? Well, yeah, we got TryHackMe. We're doing LDAP injection. The LDAP injection room, part of the web pen testing path on TryHackMe. So I'm gonna be doing that. It's been a minute since I've done a technical live stream, and I actually want to get back to the technical live streams for multiple reasons. Number one is I look at the YouTube analytics, and those are the most watched live streams. Two, I need to get back on TryHackMe because even though I have 19 certifications, you still gotta practice your skills. You still gotta keep your skills sharp. And TryHackMe is a good exercises. It's a good way to learn. It's a good way to stay sharp, and they're fun. It's fun. I haven't done a stream yet. For those who are wondering, I haven't done a stream. So this is like not a how-to. This is how I would solve it in my, if I was off the stream. So you're gonna see me struggling a lot here. Well, maybe, I don't know. So TryHackMe is not that hard, but it is like a medium difficulty pathway. What's up, Wi-Fi Addict? How's it going? What's up, Escape 8? How's it going? Thanks for stopping in, guys. How you holding up with the burnout? Bro, I don't get burned out. No, I have, but I just fight through it, man. I'm good now. I'm like super into what I'm doing, and I can just do work because I'm actually enjoying it. It all really changed after DEF CON when I had people like, dude, I love your content. I'm like, bro, that's all I needed to hear. And now I'm just like making way more content than ever before, and genuinely enjoying the process. Now, don't get me wrong, there are things I don't like about creating content, like editing. I'm not a big fan of editing. I like recording, and I like the message I'm saying, and I like the finished product, but editing is just like, ugh. And I can't afford an editor. Maybe one day. Alright, let's go ahead and switch to my Kyle Linux box here. Let's go ahead and just dive into it. This demo is for educational purposes only. Ethical hacking is legal and differs from illegal hacking. Always ensure you have legal permission before performing what you see in this demo. ESC8 says, oh yeah, I got the chat now. I figured out how to get the chat on the screen in a way, not the way I wanted to, but it works. So he says I'm burned out, taking CPS exam, just taking a break, might going to hang here while doing my exam. You're doing your exam now? Nice. Well, good luck. Don't get too distracted. I would not be watching a stream if I was taking an exam. I shut the world out when I'm taking the exam. Literally shut the world out. I do not pick up my phone. I do not do nothing. Alright, so here we go. I got my Kali Linux box here. This is actually a brand new Kali Linux box. This is the latest Kali Linux version. This is version, what version is this? 2025.3. They release a new one every quarter or so, and this is the third quarter Kali Linux box for 2025. And the only thing I've ever done to it was fix the 4K. If you guys, my last YouTube video, I have a little script that fixes it to 4K so you can actually see what you're doing on a 4K monitor. And that's the only thing I've done in this Kali Linux box. It's your third retake? Persistence is key. I mean, yeah, it's true because that's how I got OSWA. If I would have quit after 3 tries, I would have never got it because I passed my 4th try. Failure hurts less. The more certifications you get, the less it hurts when you fail. You're like, oh well, I got it. Like for me, like if I failed CPTS right now, I'm like, all right, well, I got 19 other certs, So I would say the more you do, the less it stings, I suppose. The sting to your wallet always hurts because, especially if you're paying for yourself. But a lot of these cert companies are now offering like free retakes, which is nice. All right, so I actually have to like log in and TryHackMe and everything. So, oh, here we go. This is my fixed 4K script. Like I said, this is all I've done. So check out that YouTube video if you haven't figured out how to get your UI to look right on a 4K monitor. You're probably like, why is everything so tiny? It's really annoying. I figured out how to fix it, and after literally an entire day of, well, I don't want to say an entire day, but it was like 3-4 hours. I wrote a script that does the command that you need to do automatically. You could actually just like manually point these commands one at a time, but this script does everything for you. All right, let's open up TryHackMe here. TryHackMe. I didn't want to do a Google search. I don't know why I did do TryHackMe.com. I gotta log in here. You know, I've actually never used the new Echo feature. Oh gosh, I'm running this in a VM. Everything's skippy. I've already seen this video. I don't know why it's showing me now. I've seen it before. I guess because it's the first time I've logged in on my Linux box on TryHackMe. Normally I log in on my Windows host machine. By the way, today's the end of life day for Windows 10, and I'm running Windows 10 right now. Bro, I genuinely like cannot. Well, I can afford a Windows 11 machine, but I'm not spending the money to upgrade to Windows 11 just because I have more higher priorities when it comes to my personal finances, because I do all of my content creation and like these streams and stuff on my personal computer for obvious reasons. Now my work computer is Windows 11, but my work computer, my personal computer is different. But like, that just tells you, like, even me, a cybersecurity professional who's always like, oh, keep things up to date, like, sometimes you just gotta accept the risk, bro. You know, like, it's just not in the budget. You know what I mean? It's not in my personal budget to go buy a $3,000 laptop. And you're probably like, oh, you don't need a $3,000 laptop to do labs. And it's like, well, I do content creation, and I do need like a $2,000, $3,000 laptop to do fast video editing. And I just don't want to draw that kind of money. I mean, because I want to get a laptop for travel purposes. Because right now I have a desktop, and it's a very nice desktop, but the processor's too old to upgrade to Windows 11. You can pay $25 for another year of security updates. What's up, Pablo? Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I did hear about that. I actually do need to look into that. I thought it was like $60 or something, or make 100 something. I'll figure out what it is. That's what I need to do. Free for the EU because they get to have nice things. Yeah, everything except for everything that's cool, like guns. But I digress. Alright, like I said, we're doing LDAP Injection. This is part of the web application pen testing path here on TryHackMe. By the way, if you guys have an issue with the volume on the music, let me know. If you have an issue with the volume with my mic, let me know, because I can't hear what you hear. If it's too loud, if it's not loud enough, whatever. For the music and my voice. Alright, so this says it's going to take 38 minutes. It's going to take us longer because I'm going to be talking to you guys a lot. I'm actually going to turn the music down just a notch on my end here. Alright, so LDAP Injection, exploiting lightweight directory access protocol. Premium room, gotta have money here. Dang. Look at little Echo down here. That's kind of cute. That's kind of cool. Look at them. I've never done TryHackMe room since it's been out, so we might have to use them. We'll see how it goes. I usually do get stuck, so see what happens here. Introduction. LDAP, which stands for Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, is a widely used protocol for accessing and maintaining distributed directory information services over Internet Protocol IP network. Dude, what's up with this highlight being purple? Because that's pretty dope. You can highlight and then ask Echo, dude. Hold on, dude. This is sick. Highlight, ask Echo. This is sick, dude. I can just highlight a piece and then be like, talk to me about this. Echo's unable to receive messages now. Okay, well, I guess it's not so sick as we thought it was. He's taking a break, I guess. What do we pay him for, bro? You guys have probably been on TryHackMe every day, and you're like, Kyser hasn't seen this yet? It's like, bro, back in my day, we didn't have AI to help us. We had to figure things out on our own. I did 216 runes without no darn AI. I feel old now, you know what I mean? Like, I feel old. Dude, how do I close this? Bro, can I close this? Oh, there we go. Anyways, resuming here. Sorry, my ADHD brain got distracted there. It's a pretty cool feature if it would let me send messages, I suppose. LDAP enables organizations to manage users centrally, as well as groups and other directory information often used for authentication and authorization purposes in web and internal applications. I'm actually going to hit start machine here too, so it's going to be started by the time I get down to the bottom of this. Task 1 complete. Oh, nice. Objectives: provide a thorough understanding of LDAP and its role in directory services. Explore the LDAP tree structure and its key components. Introduce LDAP injection, its impact, and how it can be exploited. Equip participants with the knowledge and skills to identify and mitigate LDAP injection vulnerabilities. Prerequisites: a foundational understanding of how directory services work, particularly LDAP. Basic knowledge of web applications, security principles, and common vulnerabilities. This highlight feature is not working like the best. Familiarity with the structure and components of LDAP, such as distinguished names, DNs, and attributes. Experience with tools and techniques for security testing of web applications such as OWASP, Zap, or Burp Suite. Alright, so we deployed a VM, so we'll hit complete there. Bro, it makes noises when you hit complete now. It sounded awful because I'm running this in the VM. Well, now I want to... What if we did this? What if we did like... I want to run this in another... on my host VM, so that way that sounds won't sound really weird. Alright, there we go. This is smoother because it's running on my host VM and not, sorry, my host machine, not my VM. Structure. In LDAP, directory entries are structured as objects, each adhering to a specific schema that defines the rules and attributes applicable to the object. This object-oriented approach ensures consistency and governs how objects like users or groups can be represented and manipulated within directory. Services that use LDAP: Microsoft Active Directory, a service for Windows domain networks utilizing LDAP as part of its underlying protocol suite to manage domain resources. Open LDAP, an open source implementation of LDAP widely used for managing users' information and supporting authentication mechanisms across various platforms. LDIF format. LDAP entries can be represented using the LDAP data interchange format, LDIF, a standard plaintext data format that represents LDAP directory entries and update operations. LDIF imports and exports directory contents and describes directory modifications such as adding, modifying, or deleting entries. Structure. An LDAP directory follows a hierarchical structure like a file system's tree. This structure comprises various entries representing a unique item such as a user group or resource. Cool. Alright, moving on. At the top of the LDAP tree, we can find the top level domains such as DC equals LDAP, DC equals THM. Beneath the TLD, top level domain. I was saying, did it spell out top level domain? It did over here. There may be subdomains or organizational units OUs, such as OU equals people or OU equals groups, which further categorizes the directory entries. Distinguished names, DNs, serve as unique identifiers for each entry in the directory, specifying the path from the top of the LDAP tree to the entry. For example, CN equals John Doe, OU equals people, DC equals example, DC equals com. Relative distinguished names, RDNs, represent individual levels within the directory hierarchy, such as CN equals John Doe, where CN stands for common name. Attributes define the properties of directory entries like mail equals John at examples.com for an email address. Click me to proceed to the next task. Click me. I clicked me and it didn't proceed me to the next task. Okay, that's a lie. Whoa! Dude, I feel like I'm playing a video game. Like they're really starting to learn how to like gamify cybersecurity learning, because like that's like a video game jingle. That's so satisfying. They got that from Hack the Box. Hack the Box did it first. When you saw a Hack the Box machine does like the cool noise, I love it. Like that was like hearing that noise is so satisfying on Hack the Box and on TryHackMe. So I'm glad they brought that in. If you're new to TryHackMe, that wasn't always there. Probably like, man, that's probably been there for months. It's been a few months since I've done TryHackMe, guys. Task 3, search queries. Search queries. LDAP search queries are fundamental in interacting with LDAP directories, allowing you to locate and retrieve information stored within a directory. Understanding how to construct these queries is crucial for effectively utilizing LDAP services. An LDAP search query consists of several components, each serving a specific function in the search operation. Base DN, distinguished name. This is the search's starting point in the directory tree. Scope defines how deep the search should go. From the base DN, it can be done on the following. Base, search the base DN only. 1, search the immediate children of the DN. Sub, search the base DN and all of its descendants. Filter, a criteria entry must match to be returned to the search results. It uses a specific syntax to define these criteria. Attributes specifies which characteristics of the matching entries should be returned to the search results. The basic syntax for LDAP search query look like this: base DN, scope, filter, attributes. Filters and syntax. Filters are the core LDAP search queries, defining the conditions that entries in the directory must meet to be included in the search results. The syntax for LDAP filters is defined in RFC 4515, where filters are represented as strings with a specific format such as mechanical name equals value. LDAP filters can use a variety of operators to refine search criteria, including equality, presence, greater than, and less than. I don't know what presence means. Presence? What does that mean? I know equality means and greater than and less than, but not sure what presence is. Let's ask Echo, dude. Let's see what Echo says about it. Tell me about presence. In LDAP, lightweight directory access protocol, filters are used to search for specific entries in a directory. The presence operator is specifically designed to check whether a particular attribute exists within an entry. Oh, like actual presence. Oh, like does it exist? That's all I needed to hear, but we'll keep reading now. I understand everything now. I don't know why that didn't click for me when I first saw it. When you use this operator, it filters the results to only include entries that have a specific attribute regardless of its value. For instance, if you are searching for a user entry that has an email attribute, using the presence filter for email would return all entries that contain an email attribute, even if it's empty. This is particularly useful when you want to ensure that certain attributes are populated in the directory entries you are working with. Other operators like equality, greater than, and less than allow for more specific searches based on the attribute values, but the presence filter focuses solely on the existence of the attribute itself. I give you a thumbs up, Echo. Way to go. Alright, how do I close this? This button? No, not that button. This button? There we go. One of the central operators in LDAP filters is the wildcard, which signifies a match with any number of characters. This operator is crucial for formulating broad or partial match search conditions. Filter example, simple filter, CN equals John Doe. This filter targets entries with the canonical name CN, exactly matching John Doe. Wildcards, CN equals J asterisk. This filter applies the wildcard operator to match any entry where the CN begins with J, regardless of what follows. Complex filters with logical operators. For more complex search query filters can be used with each other using logical operators such as and, or not. And there's an example of that. I'm not sure what's going on with the parentheses. This filter searches for entries classified as user in their object class of the canonical name, starting with either John or Jane. While not commonly exposed directly, LDAP services can be accessible over the network via ports 389 for unencrypted or start TLS connections and 636 for SSL/TLS connections. When LDAP services are accessible publicly, tools such as LDAP Search, part of the open LDAP suite, can be used to interact with LDAP server. This tool allows a user to query and modify the LDAP directory from the command line, making it a valuable resource for both legitimate administrative tasks and potentially for attackers exploiting LDAP injection vulnerabilities. For example, LDAP search-x-h LDAP IP address-b, and then we got the DCs here, and then OU people. Send a LDIF. So this is the output of that result. So we found two responses, number of entries of 1. This command searches LDAP search to perform a search against an LDAP server located at the vulnerable machine on port 389, starting on the base DN. DC equals LDAP DC equals THM, and using a filter that will search for entries under the organizational unit of people. That's so satisfying. Injection fundamentals. LDAP injection is a crucial security vulnerability that occurs when user input is not properly sanitized before being incorporated into LDAP queries. This oversight allows attackers to manipulate these queries, leading to unauthorized access or manipulation of LDAP directory data. LDAP injection exploits the way web applications construct LDAP queries. When user input is directly included in these queries without proper validation or encoding, attackers can inject malicious LDAP statements. This can result in unauthorized access to sensitive information, modification of directory data, or bypassing authentication mechanisms. This process is analogous to SQL injection, where malicious SQL statements are injected into queries to manipulate database operations. In LDAP injection, the malicious code targets LDAP queries instead. Common attack vectors. Authentication bypass. Modifying LDAP authentication queries to log in as a system user without knowing their password. Unauthorized data access. Altering LDAP search queries to retrieve sensitive information not intended for the attacker's access. Data manipulation, injecting queries that modify the LDAP directory, such as adding or modifying user attributes. Injection process. Making an LDAP injection attack involves several key steps, from identifying the injection point to successfully exploiting the vulnerability. So we got an attacker, web application, LDAP server. The attacker submits a malicious input to the web app. The web app sends the constructed LDAP query to the LDAP server. The LDAP server sends back the result, and then the web application passes to the attacker. Okay, pretty straightforward. This diagram illustrates the interaction between the attacker, the web application, and the LDAP server during an LDAP injection attack. The attacker submits malicious input to the web application login form, which constructs an LDAP query incorporating this input. The LDAP server then executes the altered query, leading to potential unauthorized access or information disclosure, depending on the nature of the injected payload. Dude, Echo gets so hyped when you click that. He was like dancing on it. He was like moving his head. Exploiting LDAP. LDAP injection can be particularly dangerous when exploited within authentication mechanisms. Attackers can manipulate LDAP queries for user authentication to bypass security controls, gaining unauthorized access to applications. For example, below is simplified PHP code snippet used in a web application for user authentication against an LDAP server. Let's see here. We got some PHP. Declaring the variables. Here's the search. For an LDAP search. See if it was successful. Retrieve their entries. This code is vulnerable because it directly inserts user-supplied input, username, and password into the LDAP query without proper sanitization or escaping. An attacker can exploit this to inject malicious LDAP filters. To exploit this vulnerability, an attacker can submit a username with a malicious LDAP filter. For example, the attacker could use a username like asterisk, which when inserted into the LDAP query effectively turns the query into a condition that always evaluates to true, bypassing authentication. This query will authenticate successfully if there is a user in the LDAP directory, as an injected condition UID equals asterisk will always be evaluated to be true. Authentication bypass techniques. Tautology, that's a weird word. Tautology based injection. What a cool word. It's weird, but it's cool. Tautology, I hope I'm saying that right. I've never seen this word before. Tautology-based injection involves inserting conditions into an LDAP query that are inherently true, thus ensuring that the query always remains positive result, irrespective of the intended logic. This method is particularly effective against LDAP queries constructed with user input that is not adequately sanitized. For example, consider an LDAP authentication query where the username and password are inserted directly from user input. I'm gonna ask Echo about this. I'll have Echo tell me more about tautology-based injection. Tautology-based injection is a technique used to manipulate LDAP queries by inserting conditions that are always true. For example, if an attacker inputs a username like asterisk, it modifies the LDAP query to a form that always evaluates to true. This means that regardless of the actual username or credentials provided, the query effectively bypasses authentication because it will return successful authentication response as long as there is at least one user in the LDAP directory. This method exploits the logic of the query, ensuring that the conditions specified do not need to be satisfied in the usual manner, allowing unauthorized access to the system. It is a crucial example of how improper validation and sanitization of user input can lead to security vulnerabilities and authentication mechanisms. Tautology-based injection. Alright, let's go and close this and continue on. Attacker could provide a tautology-based input such as this for user input and PWD for password input, which transforms according to any user ID with pretty much the password of PWD. This query effectively bypasses password checking due to how logical operators are used within the filter. This query consists of two parts: combine using an AND operator, UID equals asterisk. This part of the filter matches any entry with a UID attribute, essentially all users, because a wildcard matches any value. Pipe and user password equals PWD. The OR operator, meaning that any of the conditions enclosed needs to be true for the filter to pass. An LDAP, an empty, and condition is always considered true. The other condition checks if the user password attribute matches the value PWD, which can fail if the user is not using PWD as their password. Putting it all together, the second part of the filter will always be evaluated as true because of the AND condition. The OR operator only needs one of its enclosed conditions to be true, and since AND is always true, the entire OR condition is true regardless of whether user password equals PWD is true or false. Therefore, this result is a successful query returned for any user without verifying the correct password, bypassing the password checking mechanism. Wildcard injection. Wildcards are used in LDAP queries to match any sequence of characters, making them powerful tools for broad searches. However, when the user input containing wildcards is not correctly sanitized, it can lead to unintended query results, such as bypassing authentication by matching multiple or all entries. For example, if the search query is like this, an attacker might use a wildcard of input in both UID and user password. Using an asterisk for user input could force a query to ignore specific usernames and focus instead on the password. However, since a wildcard is also present in the password input, it does not validate the content of the password field against a specific expected value. Instead, it only checks for the presence of the user password attribute regardless of the content. This means that the query will return a positive match for any user without verifying the username provided during authentication matches and stored password. As a result, this effectively bypasses the password checking mechanism. Authentication bypass example. To demonstrate in a simple LDAP injection, go to here. Based on the code above, the application constructs an LDAP query for authentication based on the user input without proper sanitization. An attacker can exploit this by submitting a username and password with a character the application does not anticipate, such as an asterisk for the UID and user password attribute value. This makes the condition always validate to true, effectively bypassing the password check. Injected username and password. Username equals asterisk and password equals asterisk, which results in this query. This injection always makes the LDAP query condition true. However, using the asterisk will always fetch the first result in the query to target the data beginning in a specific character. An attacker can use a payload like F asterisk, which searches for a UID that begins with the letter F. And there's a flag. What is the flag? Alright, we gotta do some lab in here. So we need to go here. Let's see if it loads. While we're waiting for that. Oh. Oh, I know why. I understand everything now. Okay, let's just do this. we need to... Let's go back to my Kyle Linux VM here. Hit refresh. Get all my tasks that I have complete here. We need to access the machines. I think if we up here and then we hit... Oh, did it change? Oh, here we go. Access machines right there, duh. Open VPN advanced. It's not really that advanced, but okay. We just gotta download our VPN configuration pack. And all we have to do is use this. Move. Download KaiserClark.ovpn to here. And then we're just going to do open VPN and KaiserClark open VPN. Like that. And we're in. Now, we just need to... Oh, I'm on root Cali. I should have logged in as a root user. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna log out. It didn't work because I wasn't root. See, that's why I just run everything as root. I didn't realize I was on Cali. Let's just log out. Let's do open VPN. Actually, we need to, let's move home Cali Kyser Clark VPN to here, and then we'll do open VPN Kyser Clark and just run that. And then let's log into TryHackMe again on the root account. Let's go back to our LDAP injection room. We're already halfway done. Alright, we need to get the flag, so let's open a new tab. Okay, was it? Oh, it's F asterisk. I thought it was. There we go. Kind of backwards. There we go. Copy that, and then we will paste this into here. I need like 439 points. 431 more points to level up. Nice. Let's go to blind LDAP injection. Blind LDAP injection is more subtle variant of LDAP injection where the attacker doesn't receive direct output from the injected payload. Instead, they must infer information based on the application's behavior. This type of attack is more challenging but can still be used to extract sensitive information from an LDAP directory. Blind LDAP injection requires a different approach due to the lack of explicit core results. Attackers must rely on indirect signs such as changes in application behavior, error messages, or response timings to deduce the structure of the LDAP query and existence of vulnerabilities. For example, below is a code snippet of the IP address blind PHP that uses the LDAP query to check for the existence of user, but only returns a generic error message on a failure. The application also checks if the submitted email is the same as the email in the database. And there's that code. Let me zoom out so you can see it all in one shot, I suppose. I'm gonna take a sip of my Mountain Dew while we're looking at this. What's up, Slow-Mo J? We're gonna stream. I'll answer your question momentarily. Let me get to a checkpoint here. This code is vulnerable to blind LDAP injection because it constructs an LDAP filter using unsanitized user input. However, it only provides vague feedback, making it challenging to exploit directly. To exploit this vulnerability, an attacker can use a technique known as Boolean-based blind LDAP injection. Wow, that's kind of a mouthful. Boolean-based blind LDAP injection. The attacker injects conditions into the username field to make the LDAP query true or false, observing the application's behavior to infer information. For example, an attacker might try injecting a username, such as this, which then included the LDAP query checks for any user with A in the UID exists, injected username and password, right here. Note, the payload above is URL encoded version of the payload. This for username and password. PWD for the password. It must be URL decoded first before using it. So you can see in the picture here that's what they submitted. Here's the resulting LDAP query. Something is wrong in your password. If the application returns something is wrong with your password, the attacker can infer that a user with an account that starts with an A in their UID exists in the LDAP directory to check for the next character. An attacker can reiterate the payload with the next character. For example, I see what they're doing here. I'm just trying to figure out what the password is. So they got A, B. Resulting LDAP query. Password incorrect. This indicates that the next character is not B. An attacker can automate this kind of check by iteratively guessing the characters of the username by observing the web application's behavior in response to crafted input, similar to Boolean-based SQL injection attack. Ah, I see. Techniques for extracting information. Boolean exploitation. This involves injecting conditions that are evaluated to be true or false and observing the application's response to inferred data. For example, if the application behaves differently when the condition is true, the attacker can deduce that the injected condition matches an existing LDAP existing entry in the LDAP directory. Airbase inference. In some cases, specific injections might trigger error messages or peculiar application behavior, providing clues about the LDAP structure or confirming the success of particular payloads. Click me to proceed to the next task. They're not even going to have me demo it? Interesting. Alright, let's pull up the chat here. So, Slow Mo J asks, have you ever done any container testing yet? And the answer to that is no. Actually, I didn't even know that was like really a service that like was very profound, or like a service that was needed. I've never, I mean, obviously like container escapes are a thing, but like I never knew or never heard about specific testing for pen testing for containers. I'm talking about pen testing because I'm a pen tester. I'm sure there's container testing, but I'm assuming you meant pen testing since I'm a pen tester, but no. The answer is no. I haven't done specific container testing. Pen testing. What's up, Death of Sower? Thanks for stopping in. He said, yo, crap. I'm so late. Lack of sleep sucks. You, 46 minutes late. That's, you're fired. Sorry to say. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to the stream, man. Why do you have lack of sleep? He's been grinding too hard. He's been in the labs. Alright, moving on to task number 7 here. Automating the exploitation. Exploit code. To automate the exfiltrated of data in the previous task, you can use this Python script below. Click here for a breakdown of the script. Do we want to see a breakdown of the script? It's a lot of breakdown. I'm gonna skip past that. It's a click down. It's optional. The buff script literally guesses the characters of the email by observing the application behavior in response to cryptic input. That's the main thing that we need to know. I'm not gonna go over the whole breakdown. Automation. Say the Python code above. If you're using an attack box, the required Python modules have already been installed. Make sure to use Python 3.9 when using the attack box, since there are multiple Python installations on it. Below is the sample command on how to run the automation script. Easy enough. This will immediately show the results of the brute force as shown below. Final successful payload. Nice. Use the final payload to log into the /login PHP. Make sure to use asterisk as a password. This will automatically evaluate the search query as true. Like that. And then we get a flag. What is a flag in the dashboard? Let's go ahead and do that real quick. So we need to pull up my let's grab that script. This is the last task. Well, there's another task after this, but the last task is always just like read a conclusion. There's no hands-on. We'll copy this, and then we'll just we'll go to here, and then we will load up the terminal here. Zoom in for you. Nano exploit.py. Paste that here. We might need to change the IP address. 10.201. What's my IP address in my attack box? 10.201.16. We'll just copy 1664. Wow, it's already got the correct IP address, so we'll literally just copy and paste. And then we do Python 3 exploit.py. And we'll see what happens here. What's up, Sticks? Thanks for stopping in. How you doing today? What's up, Operator? I'm not going to show you the chat, but the question is, hey, Kyser, would you say you enjoy web pen testing compared to AD? And the reason why I want to show you the chat is I want you guys to see this in action while we're waiting for it to roll here. So web app pen testing compared to AD, I don't have a preference, man. Honestly, I like doing both. They both get boring after a while, and they're both exciting. So switching between the two for me is my preference. I wouldn't want to focus strictly on network testing and AD testing or web app pen testing. I think pen testing would get, for me, a lot more stale if I just stuck to one type of testing. So I like having both of them. I don't think I'm better at one or the other. I might be better at web app testing. I do have 2 web app pen testing certs where I only have 1 network based pen testing certification. I'm trying to fix that. I would say I'm probably a little stronger than web app pen testing at this point because I do more web app pen testing. But it's nice to do network pen testing as well. Naj Medine Salim. Hope I'm saying your name right. If not, let me know. Is it Salem or Salim? I want to practice real lab without studying courses about network web because I have little knowledge what the best channel or website that do a roadmap for labs. And let's say you didn't finish your message, but if you're trying to do real practical labs without studying network web, then you're going to have a bad time. You can't just go straight into hacking and penetration testing if you don't understand how the web works, if you don't understand how networking works. It's just not going to happen. So if you can't do courses, literally says, without studying courses about network web, why do you want to skip over that? It's impossible to get good if you try to skip over that. You cannot. It's a prerequisite. You have to do courses on network and the web. So if you're trying to skip over it, it's not going to happen for you, and you need to stop avoiding that and face it head on. Because if you can't face that head on, then you won't be a successful pen tester. I study network in university. I have little knowledge. Network and web. I study network and web in university. Still, university is bad. I'll just be straight up with you, and this is coming for someone who has 2 degrees, and I'm working on a 3rd degree. University in college isn't a good way to learn things in cybersecurity. Like they barely scratch the surface on what you actually need to know, and it's not hands-on enough, in my opinion. So I would still do courses on network and web. You don't need to go crazy, but I still think having a network plus is good to have. I still think doing the network fundamentals on TryHackMe and Hack the Box Academy are good to do. I still think doing web fundamentals on TryHackMe and Hack the Box Academy is still good to do. Because college and university isn't going to tell you everything you need to know. It will tell you maybe like 10% of what you need to know. Do you do cloud stuff too, like Azure or AWS testing? I do not. Not yet, anyways. I just do network pen testing, external and internal, web app pen testing, Wi-Fi pen testing, and next month I'm doing my 2nd social engineering, in-person social engineering, where I have to try to walk into a organizations building. We'll turn that chat on now that the exploit's done. Certifications versus degree. Well, I already talked about it a little bit just now. I definitely think certifications are better than a degree for raw skill and like what's actually relevant in the real world. However, degrees do open up doors that certifications do not open. I think the better question is, what certifications should you get and what degrees should you get? I have certifications. I have 19 certifications and I have 2 degrees. I'm working on my 3rd degree. So I think people always get hung up on like, oh, is it better to have a certification or a degree? And the real answer is do both. And a lot of people don't like that answer because they're lazy. But that's, the more you have, the more likely you're going to find a job if that's what you're trying to do. If you already have a job and you're okay with your position, then a degree is not relevant at all unless you just want to finish your degree for some reason, because people like to finish what they start. But in terms of like, if you're like trying to break in the field, get both. It makes you stand out because most people, 90% of people, are trying to avoid one or the other. And if you do both, then it puts you in the top 10% automatically. It's a lot of work, but this field is hard to break into. And the reason why it's hard to break into is because there's tens of thousands of people applying for these jobs, and there's only hundreds of jobs. So, you know, there's one job opening and you got over 1,000 people applying for it. And I said this on my podcast, the Hackers Cash podcast, shameless plug. You know, you can't be number 2. You can't be number 2. You have to be number 1. If you want to get that job, you have to be the best candidate. And in order to be the best candidate, you need to have as many credentials as you possibly can on your resume. And that's why I advocate for getting as many certs as you can, get as many degrees as you can, because the competition's fierce. CTF is a good choice for beginners. Yeah, for sure, 100%. I don't do a whole lot of CTF competitions. I think TryHackMe Hack the Box is all you need. They are CTF-y, you know what I mean? They're not traditional CTS, they're more like learning platforms, but they're definitely good. Hack the Box CJCA is a great platform to get skilled at network, IT jargon, CLI, operating system, and good foundation. I haven't even really looked into the CJCA. It looks pretty cool, but I don't have it, and I would never have that certification because it's below my skill level and it doesn't make sense for me to do. So I like Hack the Box as a platform, so I would assume, I can't really vouch for it, but I would assume it's a pretty good cert to have for entry-level certifications. I think it's a very it's a decent option, but you gotta understand, it's so new. Like, it literally came out like a month or so ago, that it's not gonna be on any job posting. So your hiring managers and your recruiters have no idea what that cert is. How do you feel about the EJPT? What's up, Legan? How you say it? I like the EJPT. I have the EJPT. I have a video on the EJPT if you want a more in-depth response to this answer, but I'll just tell you what, a top-level overview of what I think about the EJPT. EJPT is good for getting your feet wet into pen testing. It is a junior pen testing certification after all. And you gotta understand, junior pen testing positions pretty much don't exist. So EJPT is not gonna help you land a job. But what it does do is it prepares you for certifications such as the OSCP. It prepares you for CPTS or the PNPT. So that's what that cert is good for. And EJPT was a fantastic stepping stone, and it's a primary reason why I ended up passing the OSCP on my first try. With that being said, I do think the PJPT from TCM Security, it's also a junior network pen testing certification, I do think it's a better certification for multiple reasons. Number one reason is because EJPT expires after 3 years, and if you want to renew it, you're gonna have to spend $60. I'm actually in that predicament. In February, I have to spend $60 to renew my EJPT. I'm probably gonna do it because I work my tail off to get that certification. But it's like I don't need that certification, but just to keep it on my resume because I worked so hard to get it. It took me a couple months to get it. I'll pay the $60 to renew it. And that's why I like the TCM certs, because they're good for life and they don't nickel and dime you for life. That's number one reason why I like the PJPT from TCM Security over the EJPT from INE Security. The second reason is EJPT has multiple choice questions, and you can't guess your way through that exam. It's impossible to guess your way through that exam. EJPT is 100% hands-on, but it's so you have to do a hands-on activity to answer a multiple choice question. So and it has fill in the blanks too, and then it even has like capture the flag type stuff. So it's less practical. It's still good. The training was good. I refer to my EJPT notes pretty much every day. But PJPT is 100% practical. No fill in the blank questions, no multiple choice questions, no flags to capture. It's based off real world pen testing, and you have to write a professional report. So that's the second reason why I think the PJPT is better than the EJPT. I have 7 certifications. If I pass CPTS, it'll be 8. Nice. Nice, that's where it's at. People say, oh, you only need 1 certification. I think it's ludicrous to say that. Like, bro, like every job posting has 5, 6, 7 certifications posted. So it's in your best interest to have 5, 6, 7 certifications on your resume. Maybe even 8, 9, or 10. I always tell, like I said on one of my podcasts, like if I could have done 1 certification and got where I wanted to go, like I would have done that. But there's so much information out there that you don't know, and that's the reason why I haven't making certifications. What's up, David? Truong. I was going to ask what certifications and what degrees should I be pursuing. I'm 24. Tomorrow I want to start college, and I already have Sec Plus cert. That's it, and I have GI Bill. So what should I get? Well, I will tell you right now. Happy belated, no, not belated, early birthday. Yeah, because it's tomorrow, yeah. So happy early birthday. 24 tomorrow, want to start college and already have Sec Plus. You're in a good spot. So I joined the military at 24. I didn't pass Sec Plus till 24. So don't feel like you're late if you're feeling that way, because I definitely feel like I wish I would have started earlier. For sure. I wish I would have started earlier than 24. So you're in a good spot there. You already have Sec Plus. That's fantastic. I think that's like the best certification to get. It really just depends on where you want to go with your career. Do you want to be a pen tester? Do you want to be a SOC analyst? Do you want to be a GRC professional? Do you want to be a cybersecurity engineer? I have roadmaps for all those positions on my YouTube channel, by the way. So I would say figure out where you want to go next and work backwards from there. So for me, I said, hey, I want to be a pen tester. What do I got to do to be a pen tester? And I said, oh, if I get OSCP, it's going to help me become a pen tester. And at the time, I thought OSCP was a golden ticket to success. It's not. I have an entire podcast episode explaining why it's not the golden ticket. OSCP definitely helps, but you definitely need a lot more than OSCP. But at the time, I was like, okay, I need to get OSCP. How do I get OSCP? Oh, I have to be good at networking, I have to be good at programming, and I have to be good at Linux. So what did I do? I went and got Linux Plus. Knocked it out. Then I went and got the CCNA to learn networking, and then I got the Network Plus. So I learned my networking. And then I started learning programming. And then after I got my programming skills down, and my networking skills down, and my Linux skills down, I got the Pentest Plus, which is a baby pentesting certification. And after that, I got the EJPT. After the EJPT, I got the OSCP. So ask what you want to do and then work backwards from there. Which pass should I focus on Portswigger to pass the CBBH? What's up, Ricky? Jojo, thanks for stopping in. Glad to see you here. To be honest with you, I wouldn't focus anything on Portswigger. Portswigger's way of doing things is way different than Hack-the-Box's way of doing things. I would focus on the Hack-the-Box learning pass. They're changing the name of CBBH, by the way, to CWES, Certified Web Exploitation Specialist. And I would just do the web app Pentesting pathway that they have on Hack the Box Academy. You have to do that no matter what. So just focus on that, take really good notes, and then after you complete it, just take the exam. Don't do anything else after that. Maybe do the recommended Hack the Box. I think they recommend some Hack the Box machines in there, but other than that, just do that learning path and then take the exam. If you fail, then go figure out what to do from there. I usually take one course, and then if I go on an exam and get destroyed, then I'll find some auxiliary learning modules from other platforms, but don't go on other platforms until you fail. If you've already failed, then I would recommend maybe just going through the same pathway again, or just doing all the port switcher stuff, or go to TryHackMe's web app pen testing path, which is what I'm doing right now. And yeah. As far as which module specifically, it's hard to tell. I don't have the CBBH. I don't have this CWS. I'm like 40% done with that pathway, so I don't know what's on that exam exactly. But typically speaking, I just worry about the learning that the provider gives you, and that's it. And then only if I fail do I look for another platform to rope in. But I don't plan for failure, so I just do the first course, and then if I fail, then I'll think about it then. What's the difference between Hack the Box CTF and real world CTF, if you will? If I understand you right. Yeah, so real world CTF, I mean, it's not really a real world CTF. When I say real world CTF or like traditional CTF, I'm talking about like competitions at like a conference. Like you go to the conference and it's a competition, there's teams, and you're competing with the people who are at the conference. That's a traditional CTF. Hack the Box is different in the sense that it's one machine, and you can compete with other people, and there's rewards for being in the top of the leaderboards and all that. But for Hack the Box, it's one machine, there's one root flag, and there's one user flag. There's only 2 flags on each box. A traditional CTF will have 15, 16, 17, 20, 30 flags, just depends on the competition. So a traditional CTF is a little bit longer, and it's team-based, whereas Hack the Box, it can be team-based. There are teams, but it feels a little more individual-based, and like I said, it's only 2 flags. And Hack the Box seasons there's like, I don't know how many boxes, 10 to 12 machines throughout a season, and they come out with a new box every week. Where the traditional CTF, like all 20, 30 flags are available for you to grab right now. And to whoever gets the most flags wins the competition. And typically in those traditional CTFs at like the conferences. Now keep in mind, I've never competed in one of these conferences CTFs, but I have competed in the Hack the Box CTFs. These conference CTFs, there's usually flags that people don't find. So it's more about finding the most flags. Whoever can find the most flags will win in a given period of time, which is typically a few days, the length of the conference. Whereas Hack the Box, it's not about who can find the most flags, it's who can find the flags first. So it's a little bit different. But the core, like the skill sets, and there's a lot of similarities there. Both of them are good for sharpening your skills. What's up, BreakSec? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping in. What do you like of cloud search like Azure? So I do have a cloud video that talks about this. I don't have any Azure certs. I don't have any AWS certs. I actually have Cloud Plus. It's the only cloud certification I have. And then the next certification I'm going to get for the cloud anyways will be the ISC2 CCSP, Certified Cloud Security Professional. And the reason why I like that cert is because it's vendor neutral, and you can apply the principles of that certification to AWS, Google Cloud Platform, that's GCP, or Azure. Because I like to be platform agnostic, and the reason why I like to be platform agnostic is because I don't choose my clients. Like when I'm a consultant pen tester, and my clients, they have different infrastructures. They can have Azure, AWS, Google Cloud Platform, whatever. and I need to know at least a little bit of everything. So I like to not really focus on one service. You can focus on one service, but um, I like to be a generalist. I like to know a little bit about everything. I like to be a jack of all trades, master of none. I really do, and I think that makes it really flexible for me. But there's definitely value in like really focusing on one cloud platform. Like I said earlier in the stream, I don't know if you was here for it, but I don't do cloud pen testing yet. It's something I might get into later, but right now it's only network pen testing, external internal network pen testing, web app pen testing, and Wi-Fi pen testing. And yeah, I'm doing my next physical pen test, my second physical pen test next month, so that's pretty cool. Thoughts on growing problem with the H1B in IT? What's up, Deesh? So I don't know, man. I think I don't know if it's a problem per se. I think you need to give me some more context what you mean by problem. If I had to take a guess what you mean by problem, I'm assuming, so this is what I heard, that a lot of employers are firing or cutting people out in favor of H1B visa holders because they're cheaper, because foreigners are cheaper than United States citizens, and that's why they're getting rid of people. And they're saying they're getting rid of people because they can't upskill with AI, and they're using AI as a cover. But reality is they're just replacing them with the H1B visa holders. So I would imagine that's what you mean by problem. Well, that's not a problem if you are H1B. If you're a foreigner trying to come over here and work, that's actually really good for you. If you're a United States citizen, then that is a little bit of a problem. More of my thoughts. Someone who is a U.S. citizen, I'm personally not really worried about getting replaced by someone who is a foreigner, because for multiple reasons. Now they do take pay cuts. They would do my same job for less money, but I argue that the companies who are bringing, this is gonna sound bad, and it's gonna sound a little harsh for the people who are not in the United States, but this is my genuine opinion. People, especially if it's non-native speakers, people who don't speak English well, the companies who are bringing in these people, they're gonna end up losing in the end, because at the end of the day, people hire companies, consultants. People like to work with people that they like. And I'm not saying that foreigners are disliked, but what I am saying is foreigners are hard to communicate with because their English isn't their first language. It's incredibly hard to understand them, and they can't understand you. There's a communication issue there. And communication is key to success in everything: relationships, business, careers, all of it. So if there's a communication there, then customers and clients are less likely to go to that business again, because their person they're working with is hard to understand and they can't understand them back. And people get frustrated with that. And that is a huge disadvantage if you're not a native English speaker. And like I said, it sounds a little harsh, but it is the reality, because there's plenty of times where I talk to foreigners and I'm like, bro, I have no idea what this guy's saying right now, because they're hard to understand. And you're just like, yep. And then you get subpar service because I didn't understand what your needs were. And then if you're a worker, if you're a foreigner, it's in the United States and you're serving someone who is a native English speaker and they have a hard time understanding you, they're just not going to come back. Like, right, there's been times, and my entire family does this, a lot of my friends do this, like if I call up a company and it's someone that I can't understand, like, we just go to a different company. That's just how it goes. My friend actually told me this one time. He used to be a cybersecurity engineer, and he was like, yeah, if I call up a vendor for like help desk support and it's someone that I can't understand, they're a non-native English speaker, he's like, I won't buy their products ever again. Like, we just go to a different vendor because it's hard to understand, it's hard to work through the problems. So back to so I think the companies who are bringing in these foreigners, they're gonna lose business in the long run. And I think native English speakers who are getting replaced by these non-native English speakers, it's gonna suck at first, but in the end, you're irreplaceable, because, like I said, native English speakers, like, they want to purchase products from native English speakers because they're easier to work with. So that's what I think about it. What's up? No, not a harsh reality. It's reality. That's a good perspective. I'm not trying to be mean, but it is the truth. So here's what I would say. If you are a non-native English speaker, practice your English. I mean, like, if you can get good at speaking English, then that's good, because we always talk about soft skills being a key skill. And if you come in on one of the H-1B visas and you're really good at speaking English, that's fire. So that's what I would do if I was a non-English native speaker, or if I was a non-US citizen. I would be focusing on my English. Like, I would be taking classes, like, in worrying about your communication skills. As a foreigner who basically grew up stateside, yeah, soft skills and interfacing with customers remain important. Wi-Fi, so man-in-the-middle downgrade WPA3 to run WPA2 exploits. Yeah, that's basically what I want to be doing. Dude, actually, speaking of that, Hack the Box just released a new WPA3 learning path, or a module. So that's pretty cool. I'll see if I can do that before my Wi-Fi pen testing engagement next month. Because I know a little bit about, like, downgrade attacks, but not that much, to be honest with you. All my, like, the OSWP, that's what I'm certified in. OffSec Wireless Professional, that's all WPA2. And WPA2 Enterprise. Alright, let's go back to the module here. Alright, so we do have the final successful payload, admin_blind at LDAP.TryHackMe. So we can just copy this. Copy selection. And I guess, you know what? Actually, we need to go. Yeah, I do need to go to tryhackme.com. I thought I already had it. Oh, I do. It's on this desktop. Here we go. So we need to go here. What's the endpoint? It was like slash something. Slash something. Slash login. Here we go. Bro, why is this taking so long to load? Bro, what is going on? Why is this taking... Did it die? Did the box die on me? No, I still have 51 minutes. So why is it not loading? I'm doing great, Agent 57. Thanks for asking. How about you? My neck's starting to hurt because I put the chat on my top monitor. I'm like looking straight up. I need to figure that out for next stream. I need to put the chat on the middle monitor so I'm not looking up so much. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. Streaming on Twitch, doing some TryHackMe rooms. This one was pretty easy, not that frustrating to me. Except for the fact that this isn't working right now. I don't know why. Dude, you get chests if I complete 7 rooms in a week, bro? Oh, man. We gotta get going. Do you prefer Hack the Box or TryHackMe? Well, there's a reason why I do both. I like both of them. I say this... I've been saying this for a while, and I still believe this to be true. I think LDAP. I almost said LDAP because that's what I saw. I think LDAP. No, I think TryHackMe is best to get started. And then once you get the basics in your belt, like once you do like all the learning paths on TryHackMe, moving into Hack the Box is the move. There's a reason why I focus a little bit more on Hack the Box. You're gonna see more Hack the Box content than TryHackMe content, because I think Hack the Box content is a little bit more in depth, a little bit more challenging, and for advanced users, I would say, for professionals. Whereas TryHackMe is more beginner friendly, although they do have some hard, challenging stuff on TryHackMe. Don't get it twisted. I see that I'm on 500 on top 500 on TryHackMe. Nice. What's my rank? Top 500? That's pretty good. That's sick. The same boxes are fire. Really? I think have I done the same box? I do know this. When I did my first hard box on TryHackMe, I thought I was really good at hacking, and then really a hard box is actually easier. A hard box on TryHackMe is easier than an easy box on Hack the Box. Day 1170 on my TryHackMe streak. Dude, what? That's crazy. That's cool. Thanks for answering my question. I took notes. Have a good one, bro. Alright, man. Thanks for stopping in, Death Bestower. I'm glad I can help you out. I can't scroll the chat for some reason. I don't even know what question you asked. But you're welcome. I answered a lot of questions. I don't really keep track of who's asking what. Well, I'm glad you got value out of the question, rather than my response. Why is this not working? Let's just try this again. I don't know why this ain't working. It might have... So we got a response. Let's close this. Yeah, so I mean, we got this, the final payload. We wouldn't have got this if we didn't have connection to the thing. Maybe we just took too long to answer, or maybe the script broke the box. I'm thinking the script broke the box for sending so many requests to it. Do you use Notion or something else when you're note taking when doing machines? I use Microsoft OneNote. I should probably switch to Obsidian. My whole team's using Obsidian, and I know Obsidian, it looks cool, nice and organized, but I just haven't transferred my notes to Obsidian. I'm using OneNote. I actually like OneNote. I don't really have a whole lot of problems with it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to reset this box. So let's go ahead and hit terminate here. Terminate machine. And let's try launching it again. I think the machine broke. I've seen it has paywall to move nodes from one machine to another. What? No way. That's gross. Yeah, you do have to have a license for that, don't you? I forgot about that. See, that's why I like OneNote. It's just built into all Windows machines, and it just syncs seamlessly between machine to machine. Like, I can literally jump on any Windows machine in the world and get all of my notes without downloading anything, because OneNote's built into the operating system. All I have to do is log in. So that's one thing I like about OneNote. That's actually the main thing I like about OneNote. So I'm a Windows user. For my host machine. Let's see if we can I could see if I was on Mac, maybe. There we go. Now this is working. So all I have to do is paste this here, and then the password, I just put an asterisk here, and we can log in. There we go. That's our flag. Oh, that sounds so satisfying, bro. What's up, Nacho Show? Finally catching you live. Great content. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the content. Thanks for stopping in the stream. How you doing today? I want to do more live streams, guys. How many people we got watching right now? I don't know. I don't normally pay attention to how many people's watching me. I need to have a poll on LinkedIn, but before I do a poll on LinkedIn, since you guys are here right here right now, I'm gonna ask this question, and it's gonna give me some things to think about. So I've been thinking about doing daily live streams, and I'm gonna roll out daily live streams eventually. I'm not entirely sure when that's gonna be, but it's gonna be in the next few weeks, maybe a couple months maximum. And when I say daily live streams, I mean like at least Monday through Friday. I might take the weekends off on these live streams, but these live streams would be first thing in the morning Eastern time. So I'm going to be streaming from like starting at 8 in the morning Eastern time. So if you're on the West Coast of the United States, then that's like super early for you. The reason why it has to be that early is because I start work at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But with the daily live streams, I want to know, what would you guys rather see? Would you guys rather see a Q&A where all I do is talk to you guys, kind of like what I'm doing right now, for the entire live stream, and I just answer people's questions back to back to back to back to back for the entire live stream, like no other content, just me talking to you guys, answering questions? Or would you rather see like a news show where I go out and I'll go out and do some research on the hot topics in cybersecurity and AI, and I also I follow business stuff as well, and I would find like the most interesting news in AI, cybersecurity, and business. I would definitely be focusing more on that cybersecurity side of things, of course, and AI as well, and then dabble in a little bit of business news as well, because business is important, because we can get a temperature gauge on the economy, and we talk about the economy a lot on this show because everyone's trying to find jobs in cybersecurity. So the economy and the business news is going to help a lot in your career as well. So I would do that, and then I would do like a Q&A section at the end, but the Q&A section would be very brief. I'm talking like 10-15 minutes. I'd only answer like 3 questions maximum, maybe 5. So it would be like a news show, but like, and at the end it would be Q&A at the end, or I could just do Q&A for the entire show. Agent 57 says nope, hands-on hacking for sure. So I'm not gonna get rid of these. So I will still be doing these Tuesday night live streams. Or it's Tuesday night for me right now. I don't know where, if you're on the other side of the world, it might be like Wednesday morning for you or something. But I will still be doing the TryHackMe at this time. That will not go away. That's not going away. I'm going to be doing TryHackMe at this time. And it would only be once a week. I'm talking about a daily morning show. I'm good, man. How about you in the chat? How's everyone? Yeah, you should do more live for sure. No, not that early. In Arizona, that'd be like 5, 6 a.m. Like I said, I have to do it that early because I start work at 9 in the morning. Eastern time. So it's kind of like not a choice. It's not like an option. I have to do like 8 to 9 in the morning Eastern time. There will be reruns. You can watch the past live stream. This live stream will still be at this time on Tuesday, though. Trends and Hack the Box. So you want to do trends with a Hack the Box machine? Q&A will probably help you practice communicating knowledge to people who know less. Yeah, for sure. What's up, security type? Thanks for stopping in. Oh, what's up, Amon? I'm glad you put that in parentheses. No, I know. That's a great time for me. I'm up at 3:30 in the morning learning before my blue collar job. Bruh, that's early. Also, check the website out. I linked above. Oh. I'm sure I try to tell you about infosecstreams.com, maintained by one of the infosec streamers on the list that shows who is doing live cyber streams. For real? I must have not seen this. Let me click this link. Malware. he takes over the stream. Clicks the stream and my stream's gone. I clicked it on my chat, but it didn't work. I just have to Google it here. Bro, I'm not on this. I'm not on the list. How do I get on the list? I need to get on the list. Add yourself via GitHub pull request /fork. Okay. I'm gonna look into this, man. Thank you for sharing that. Alright, let's get into the conclusion here. Wrap this up. Conclusion. Congratulations on completing LDAP injection. Here's a recap of the key concept we covered. LDAP fundamentals. We started by understanding LDAP's role in the directory services and learning about the structure of the LDAP tree, including DNs, RDNs, and attributes. LDAP search queries. You learn how to construct basic LDAP search queries, understanding the importance of filters and their syntax. LDAP injection fundamentals. You've learned what LDAP injection is, how it works, and common attack vectors, highlighting the risks associated with improperly sanitized input in LDAP queries. Exploiting LDAP injection in the login mechanisms. Techniques for bypassing authentication through LDAP injection and practical exercises simulating vulnerable login systems or explored. Blind LDAP injection techniques. The challenges and methodologies for extracting information through blind LDAP injection, a subtler form of LDAP injection, were discussed. Additional resources to continue your journey in mastering LDAP and related security concepts. Consider exploring the following resources: TryHackMe, Breaching AD. This room provides and end up look at Active Directory environments, offering practical experiences in exploiting common AD vulnerabilities and understanding the security mechanisms with AD. I can now exploit LDAP vulnerabilities. To be honest with you, I thought the hands-on labs with this was a little easy, but I mean, that's what. Dang, dude, I feel like I just slayed a dragon after that sound. Holy crap. That's sick. What a noise. What's up, Trusted Cookie? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping in. The smart dude will be here once you are there. Oh, nice. Okay. Cool. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. The smart dudes. Okay. Nice. I'm not going to share this achievement on my LinkedIn because I'm already streaming on LinkedIn. But if you weren't streaming, I would definitely say click this and then post. You started a streak. Can you reach day 3? That's a 1-day streak. I got the 365-day streak. What's a streak? Bro, what are you... Why does someone need to click this? What is a streak? What do you mean, what's a streak? Why is that even a question? Continue learning. Keep on... Keep it on. No, keep up the great work and continue your learning journey. We got ORM injection next. I don't even know what ORM injection is, so that's going to be really cool to get into for the next stream, which will be next week, I guess. Am I doing it? Let me check my calendar. Am I doing anything next week? Let's look here. No, I don't think I am. Looks pretty good. So yeah, I'll be streaming next week this time. If not, then I'll let you know. But it looks like everything should be good for next week's stream. I didn't stream last week because I was at Wild West Hacking Fest. Great conference, by the way. Had a lot of fun. Learned a lot. Great talks. Great training. Great people. Best conference I've ever been to. And I've only been to a handful, but man, it was really good. So that's why I didn't stream last week. I know there's some people like, I missed the live streams. I'm like, sorry, I'm at Wild West Hacking Fest. And my stream machine, like I was saying earlier in the stream, is a desktop, and I just can't haul it. It's honestly, I think it weighs like 35 pounds, dude. It's a hunk. It's a hunk. I'm like, I'm not taking it out on a plane, bro. It don't even fit in my suitcase. I have checked my PC in on a plane before when I move, but for a 1-week trip, I just don't do it. I do have a laptop that I take, but it's just, I don't think it's good enough to stream on because there's a lot going on in the stream. I don't think it has the compute power to deal with it. So looking at buying a new laptop is what I'm trying to do. Alright, let's go back to the chat here. Does anybody have any final questions before I get off here? I'm about to wrap this up, but I will answer any lingering questions if you have any. Keep the chat open for a few minutes here. If you came for the TryHackMe room, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully, if you were stuck and you're watching this as a past broadcast, thanks for stopping in. Hopefully you got past the point you were stuck at, and hopefully you learned something. What's up, Vishal? Welcome back to the stream. How you doing today? I'm doing great. About to wrap it up here. You entered the chat right at the end, unfortunately. I'm just accepting any final questions anybody might have, or comments or concerns. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button if you're on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, also hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. If you're on Twitch, hit the follow button. If you're on any other platform, hit the follow button. Check out my podcast, The Hacker's Cache. It's on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. And if you're interested in hearing what goes on my mind on a weekly basis, sign up for my newsletter, the Cyber Mindset Digest. It helps you think differently about cybersecurity. And you can sign up at kaiserclerk.com/newsletter. The link is in the description. Maybe a topic for a different time, but did you hear about TryHackMe and Tyler Ramsey's situation? No. I did not. I did not. I mean, I don't like drama. It sounds like it could be drama. I avoid drama like the plague. Maybe that's why I didn't. Maybe that's why I didn't hear about it. I do know he made a video about the ethics involved with TryHackMe using training data for an AI thing. And he was basically like, yo, what the heck? Like, we were using TryHackMe, and now you're using my training data to put into this Pentesting AI thing. I wasn't a stream for that. That was the reason to turn the chat off. Man, I almost don't even want to ask about it because, like I said, I don't like getting in drama, man. I just avoid it like the plague. I mean, now I'm kind of curious, but I'm focusing on me 99% of the time. I did talk to Tyler Ransby while I was hacking Fest. Good dude, great dude, by the way. Yeah, about the ethics and how the owner responded back to it, and he got taken off for being part of their QA. Yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of the argument here when it comes to the ethics involved with the TryHackMe training data, because for one, like, yeah, we didn't sign up for that, but for two, it's like, bro, like, I'm personally not worried about it because TryHackMe, the only thing they have for my data is my name, my email. I mean, my personal information is not on the TryHackMe platform. And the thing that they're not even importing personal information, they're importing training data. So they're importing like the user behavior. It's like, what commands did I run to get that flag? It's all they're tracking, I think, from my understanding. No, every room Echo is in, they are using what you did. Yeah, like, yeah, that makes sense. And like I said, I'm not really too concerned about it. Like, it's their platform. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't expect to go to someone's house and not have them kind of pay attention to what you're doing. You know what I mean? That's like walking into a jewelry store and being upset that they're recording you buying a piece of jewelry. You know, it's their house. They can do what they want. They can monitor you and track you for their training reasons, legal reasons, whatever it is. I mean, you call tech support all the time. They're like, well, we're recording this for training purposes. It's like, it's their platform. If you don't like it, then don't get on the platform. Which, I mean, I guess a lot of people left the TryHackMe platform, but a separate company from TryHackMe, but using all the data TryHackMe has. Yeah, I mean, it's called a partnership. They are doing this to set a company up to do this as a job/service. Right. Yeah, I'm not. It doesn't bother me. It really don't. Obviously, because I'm still on TryHackMe, and I still think TryHackMe is a good platform. Because, like, I'm not putting any like proprietary information. I'm literally just copy and pasting commands that they already know about. You know what I mean? Like, I'm literally just like, oh, what's the command? Let me just copy it here, and then paste it on my terminal, get the flag, and paste it here. So I'm not using like, I'm not like burning 0-day exploits on TryHackMe. You know what I mean? I see what you're saying, but in 2 years, what if there's no entry-level jobs? Oh yeah, I mean, I've been telling this to people all the time. Like, I've said it multiple times in my podcast. I've said it in my content multiple times. I've said it multiple times in my newsletter. I've been shouting telling everybody that entry-level jobs are basically non-existent today, and they're going to be non-existent in the future because AI is replacing entry-level jobs 100%. And if it wasn't, I mean, TryHackMe's built on platform, guess what? So is everybody else. That's where the future is going. It's going to automation. It's going to AI. And if you don't want to get replaced, then you need to learn, you need to upskill yourself. You need to be better than the AI, which is incredibly hard. Right now, you can still get ahead, but over time, we're not going to be able to get ahead. So this is, people ask me like, why do you work all the time? It's like, that's why. I'm terrified of losing my job. I'm terrified of getting replaced by AI. And that's why I keep working. That's why I build a self brand. That's why I make the videos I do. That's why I, you know, I'm always going to conferences and I'm just upskilling as much as I can, because yeah, we are getting replaced by AI. Maybe not anytime soon at the mid-level, but they do want to replace you because it's cheaper. I get Anthropic did their CTF at DEF CON the past 2 years, and there was an AI at the top of HackerOne's leaderboard too. Yeah, well, that's true. That AI can do CTFs, and it can probably do real-world pen tests too. But some companies, they're not gonna. They want people to do the work because people are still concerned with the risk and the privacy issues regarding AI, right? Like, we're not putting in our proprietary information in the AI, and because of that, like, it is an ethical issue if you sell a pen test and you don't tell your client that you're plugging their data into AI. And if you say it to your client, hey, we're plugging your data into AI, you know, they're gonna be like, whoa, we don't want that. You know what I mean? So it's AI is replacing a lot of people, and that's just how it is. And that's why, I mean, it's just the way of the world going forward. There's no point, in my opinion, to fight it. There's no point in complaining about it because it is what it is. The only thing we can do as people who work in this field is just upskill as much as we possibly can and get good with AI and use AI ourselves. You gotta fight fire with fire. But yeah, I've been saying a lot in my content. People are gonna get replaced with AI. People think it's an issue. They've been saying, "Oh, we're not gonna get replaced with AI." I'm just like, bro, AI is getting good, and it's getting good fast. It's getting better and better by the nanosecond. And that's why you also need to get better and better by the nanosecond. Oh, going back to your question, Vishal, what do you prefer, books or online tutorials for cybersecurity learning? I like online courses most. Books are, I have a lot of books on my bookshelf, but it's kind of like an auxiliary thing. I don't learn that much through the books. I pick up like 1 or 2 tricks from every book. So I'll literally read 400 pages and get like 1 key takeaway, and that's it. Books takes a long time to extrapolate the information. Granted, a lot of the books I read is like a review more than anything, but I like online courses. But there's nothing wrong with books, but books get outdated quickly, especially technical books. Technical books get outdated very fast. What's up, Jose Sanchez? Thanks for stopping in. AI is great. Use it a lot. I'm bullish on AI. I like AI as well. I think it is going to be a net positive for society, but there are negatives. But the biggest negative when it comes to AI are the people who don't realize that they're about to get replaced, and there's people who are going to be complaining like, "Oh, I got replaced. I lost my job to AI." I was like, bro, that's your fault. Like, the writing's on the wall. Like, read the sign and do something about it. And a lot of people don't like that because, oh man, now I gotta work. Now I gotta learn more stuff. And it's like, look, man, you gotta work hard to stand out. You gotta have skills. You gotta have You have to offer something in the world. You can't just clock in and clock out anymore. Those days are gone. Like where you clock into a job and clock out, and you're just a cog in a machine. Like you have to have like real world, outside the box thinking skills in every profession, not just cybersecurity, but especially for cybersecurity. I was watching Lady integrate AI into farms for agriculture. See, I think that's cool. I think that's cool. Because I look at someone like me who's an individual. I use AI in my content. I don't make AI content, like none of my content's AI. Although I have, and I still do use AI generated images because I don't want to pay like a fortune for like stock footage that everyone else is using. So I'll just use AI generate images for stock footage. But I use AI to help come up with titles and thumbnails and SEO stuff. And I even use AI images for my thumbnails. And well, if I didn't have AI, then I would either have to A, pay someone to do all that stuff, or B, have a subpar content. Right? My thumbnails would not look nearly as good if it wasn't for AI generated thumbnails. Or I could pay someone to do it, but I can't afford to pay someone to do it because my content doesn't generate any money. At least not now. So yeah, it did take a job. It took an artist's job away because now I'm not paying an artist. I'm generating my own thumbnails. Now I have to have my own skills. Like I have my graphic design skills that I do because I make all my own thumbnails. But I do use AI to help me with that process. And I don't have a personal assistant, so having ChatGPT is like a huge time and money saver for me. If automating using AI raises your competency across everything you do, you're at risk. Still, current language models have zero context understanding, but that might change with hierarchical reasoning. Yeah, that's what people say. I mean, and everyone's like, "Oh, AI slop, AI slop." It's like, well, it's not slop. If I write 4 pages of information and then give it to ChatGPT, like I still did the work. I just had it optimize the work, if that makes sense. And that's what I do. I mean, if you look at my prompts on ChatGPT, they're long. Like, I mean, they are incredibly long. I don't just go to ChatGPT and be like, oh, hey, give me a title on this. Give me a title for my next YouTube video about OSCP. It's like, no, I give it a lot more information than that. I like AI. I'm not fighting. I'm because it saves me a lot of time. For sure, as an individual running a whole content channel, because I don't have a content team and I can't afford a team. And AI helps me put out as much content as I do. Without AI, I would not be putting out as much content as I do. It would take me way longer. It still takes a long time. I still would like to have, a team editing and uploading stuff, but I'm just not there yet. Also, AI will never fully replace humans because humans like human interaction, right? There's a reason why everyone got depressed during COVID when they were locked up. So I think AI replacing everything is just not possible because humans need other humans to interact with. Okay, so and I also see a point in time where like we see companies replacing, like for example, like the help desk professional with an AI, and people are just gonna get sick and tired of the AI. They like, we want to talk to a human, and people will go. This is what I was talking about earlier with like the foreign people not being able to speak English very well. Like, if I call help desk and I get someone who doesn't speak English well, like, I will switch companies and go to another company who has a help desk person who does speak English well. Well, in the future, and this is probably already happening, when you open up when you call help desk or you call any kind of support line and you get a robot, people are gonna naturally gravitate to the companies that are still have people, because people like to talk to people. Like, you go to the hot dog stand. In the future, I can imagine 2 hot dog stands, one with an AI robot serving hot dogs and one that has humans serving hot dogs. And I think the one serving human hot dogs is going to be outperforming the AI hot dog one, even though the AI hot dog one can probably produce a hot dog a lot faster. But people like to buy and interact with humans. So, I think the future is interesting. It's going to be dark for some because, like I said, people are upskilling, and that's the main thing. As long as you keep upskilling, you keep learning, you're good. But people are afraid of hard work, and if you're not afraid of hard work, then you have nothing to be afraid of, because the world is your oyster, and I think this is a golden opportunity for all of us. I was saying this, like, I wish, getting into the tech field in 2018, studying the history of tech and all this, and I was like, man, it would have been nice to get there and get in at the ground level in the 90s and the 2000s, because those guys are way ahead of me right now. And it was impossible for me to be in the tech field at that time because I was a child. But now we're going into the AI age, and now I'm in my prime working years, and it's a golden opportunity. And people in future generations are like, man, I wish I was around for the dawn of AI, because it is a golden opportunity. But you got to put in the work and you got to learn the stuff, and I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of. I don't think people are afraid of being replaced with AI. I think they're afraid of being replaced by AI because they're afraid to put in the work in order to stay relevant. I think it's a work ethic / lazy issue than anything. The issue is that business is inherently dehumanizing now, and the U.S. has a monopolies problem. There might not be another option. No, there will always be another option. There will always be another option. Because the companies who aren't dehumanizing are winning right now. They're winning. And the companies who continue to dehumanize, they'll be out of business soon. Even tech giants. This is actually one of the bold predictions I put in my newsletter, which you could have got, I don't know, 4 weeks ago when I wrote about it. One of the bold predictions I had is big tech companies are going to start losing market share. They're gonna become less and less important, because people are going to want more freedom and flexibility, and they're going to be wanting to they want the human aspect back. So I think we're going to see more startups to care about the individual rising and providing valid alternatives to the big tech giants. I genuinely believe that. And the tech giants are pushing AI right now because they got the money to fund that kind of stuff. But if they push too hard, then people are just going to reject it. Because at the end of the day, someone's going to come up with alternatives. Who was it? Who was it that was back in the tech bubble? They were talking about, I think it was, they were talking about, I think it was Cisco. They said Cisco was a monopoly because they had like the most networking equipment or something, and they're like, we're not a monopoly because of XYZ reasons, and like they're not even like a big tech company. They are a big tech company, but like they weren't as big as they used to be. They are bigger, but like in the market got a lot bigger too, and they're taking up less percentage of the pie now than they did before. Even though they're technically bigger, but like I said, the market got bigger too. Do you think red team pentesting will be replaced by AI? I think perhaps yes, but not immediately. might take a bit for some AI service in the form of AI-based agents or something. AI pen testing or red team will probably be one of the last positions that get replaced by AI, but it's definitely going to happen in the far future. I don't know how. Maybe not so far. Maybe in a few years. We'll have to see. But the writing will be on the wall before that happens. Like when you start seeing like other cybersecurity and other tech positions get fully replaced by AI, then that means your pen testing / red teaming job is on a chopping block. Cisco being valued higher than Microsoft when the bubble popped. Yeah, that's what it was, something like that. But it wasn't a monopoly because just because you're big doesn't make you a monopoly. The big companies fall all the time. Like you just look at history, like big companies fall all the time. So just because like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, like just because they're at the top now doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be automatically at the top forever. They do have to continuously innovate and continuously provide value to customers, because if they don't, then they lose market share. St. Alma said they will never be able to stop prompt injection, so we will always have to be able to hack AI. Yeah, 100%. And that's why I'm learning AI prompt injection. That's why I'm learning AI pen testing and AI red teaming. Because that is 100% fact. And I think that's learning AI security is definitely where it's at. This name of the song is called Skynet. What a fitting song for this discussion. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I got to go to the bathroom, and I got a couple other things I got to do before I go to bed. It's 9 p.m. here. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you got value out of the stream. If not, let me know how I can do better. It's great talking to everybody. Great seeing everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for the support. And hopefully I see you on the next stream. Next stream will be this time next week. And I'll be doing some more TryHackMe. I'll be doing the ORM injection. Check out my podcast. Thanks for the stream, dude. And add yourself to the list. Yes, I'm going to look into it. Thank you for... I have it on my other monitor here. And I'm going to look into it. So thanks. And yeah, check out my podcast, Hackers Cash. It's on all the platforms. And if you're on Twitch, check out my YouTube channel. I have over 600 videos. It's out for my newsletter. KyserClark.com/newsletter. Alright guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out.